Because I got a it's really annoying. So I got a new mic for my birthday because previously I was using a condenser.
Yeah.
And I've gone to a dynamic broadcast mic in the hopes that because it's dynamic, it'll stop picking up my mouse and keyboard.
Yeah.
That hasn't worked. Still picks them up, even though in theory dynamic mics are supposed to be like way less sensitive.
Could you not just change the settings in OBS?
Um,
Because I had this issue recently.
well, I mean, yeah, I could fuck around with noise gates and stuff. Yeah, I could. Maybe I need to. But I record myself in Audacity is the problem. And there isn't any live noise gating on that.
Because I found that, like, it was really interesting. I only realised this the other day, that loads of background noise was leaking in through my OBS.
Yeah.
And it wasn't happening on Discord, because I was talking to Scrub, I think, at the time, and I was like, has my mic been bleeding loads? And he was like, no, I've heard the TV a couple of times, but... Like,
yeah, Discord's really good at cutting that shit out, though. Like they've put a lot of work into cutting out background noise without people even realizing that they're doing it.
Yeah, I was quite impressed. So, but yeah, I went into the options on OBS and I fiddled around. I'm still trying to get all my settings right because I just don't feel like I'm optimal at the moment. My voice was really quiet as well. Adam was saying he can barely hear me in the stream, so I had to up the decibels on that.
No, just because I've done my normal processing to that Audacity file that I was doing with the other microphone, and I'm marveling at I'm surprised how different it sounds from the other one. It's a lot warmer.
Yeah, I could kind of, now you mention it, I mean, I didn't notice, but...
It's you don't. I mean, I'll just assume. I don't assume Discord is really doing me any favors.
Yeah.
I just kind of surprised myself. Just I did the 3 bits of audio processing that I ever bothered to do, and then played it back to myself, and I was like, wow, that sounds great. Oh my god. But the really annoying thing is that I'm quite miffed about is that the old mic was on an arm in a shock mount. So then table vibrate, like desk vibration didn't get to it at all. In theory, this mic, the manufacturer and reviewers said it has an internal shock mount, like the actual microphone apparatus in the housing is suspended.
Yeah.
So you don't need a shock mount, and the way they've built the mic, you can't use a shock mount. But if I move my mouse on the table and pick it up and put it down, the Discord doesn't pick it up, which is ironic. But
I can hear that.
fuck it, yeah. So it's really annoying. So the old mic didn't have that problem, at least not to the same extent. It didn't travel up through the arm like it does now. So I'm gonna have to get some padding or something for the clamp so that it doesn't travel through.
I'm intrigued about all this kind of stuff because I've been looking into new microphones myself.
Yeah. Well, don't ask me because I clearly don't know what I'm talking about.
I'm just going to go for a new headset with a built-in one, but
yeah,
for convenience, I think.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I kind of wish I was still just on headset mics and not worrying about how I sound.
Yeah.
But it's one of those things that's like I started to care and now I can't stop caring.
I would like it to be better because it doesn't. I don't think this mic's very good. And I would like to do some more streaming generally, and just generally pay a bit more attention to my YouTube.
Yeah.
Not that anyone watches it. I've somehow managed 300 subscribers, but I think that's from Armour days.
Yeah, I did notice that the other day. I was like, holy shit, 300. Loads. Yeah, I need to remind myself that I don't care if anyone watches my videos, because otherwise I'll just
that's the thing.
I'll just become really upset and go crazy.
I mean, it's mainly like actually you lot who end up watching them. Like I know Adam's watched a few of the Breakpoint videos in the past, and Scrub often comments.
It's just good. It's just good to see what your friends play.
Yeah, like I've really enjoyed
and
your
what they get up
videos
to. And yeah, I'm not making another hunt video until we win a fight though. Now, because otherwise it'll just be more footage of us getting killed. So I can't make any more of those until we actually win a fight. Same with my dumb Tarkov video. Like, there's no point making a Tarkov video unless it's actually you playing well, because otherwise it's not really that worth watching. It's not like I'm going to go back and watch it all to learn.
Yeah.
Maybe I should. I think that was like the first time I caught Tarkov on Twitch with like a streamer that I follow months ago. It was back when the NVIDIA highlights still worked before they disabled it again.
Oh, what,
and that was
Tarkov?
really in Tarkov. Yeah, that was really interesting. So like every time he got killed, he would go to his highlights folder. He would open up the video and see what went wrong.
Yeah,
and I was like, wow, that's so cool. Like that's a really good learning tool. And then by the time I got into the game, they disabled it because obviously it tells you when you've killed someone with a little NVIDIA notification. So they removed it again. So, yeah.
Yeah, I quite enjoyed that on Warzone the other night. I ended up with like far too many clips.
Well, it just generates loads, doesn't it?
Yeah,
of like
constant deaths, and like, every single time you'd get back in from the gulag, that'd be a clip. Whether you died or lived.
Oh, really? It clips every single gulag?
Yeah, every single time you die or kill somebody, it saves the highlight.
Right.
So you'd get one for like the initial death, then one in the gulag whether
I
you failed
see.
or won.
That's ridiculous.
And then and then all the kills as well. So I ended up with about 30 clips from half an hour to 45-minute session.
You can tune it though, can't you? I think you can say like I only want like kill streaks or long distance kills or whatever. Like not every single kill and every single death, because in a Call of Duty game there's going to be a lot of those.
Yeah, but that's when I did think, well, actually this is kind of useful because I can see what happened and try and be a better player. So it was quite nice.
It's a cool feature. Quite like it.
Yeah.
It's really interesting, especially for people that just like, if you don't just want to leave a recording running the whole time.
Yeah. Well, I tried doing that the other day and my frames just, after about 5 minutes, plummeted.
Right.
So I don't know if you can set it to save, like get to a point and then save and start a new file.
Well, did it run out of room? Where were you saving it to?
I was just it was just saving to one of my hard drives, but after like, you know, a couple of minutes, it just like frames just plummeted and it became completely unplayable in game, which was really irritating.
What's the drive?
That one was just a Western Digital Black.
When did you buy it?
Quite a few years ago.
Okay, fine.
But I assumed it was the program rather than the drive because it's not like what my main stuff is on anymore.
Yeah. Well, because I just write to a hard drive and it's fine.
Mm.
But if it was, the reason I asked is that apparently a lot of hard drive manufacturers started to sell.
This is the spot.
They started only selling shingled hard drives instead of like proper ones, and didn't tell anybody basically. So like even if you buy like a Western Digital Black hard drive, which is meant to be a high performance drive, it's a shingled archive hard drive that they're cheaper to make because they've basically determined that nobody gives a shit about hard drives anymore. Everyone's just buying SSDs.
Yeah.
But of course I would quite like to have a 1 or 2 terabyte hard drive that I can just write recordings to and then not have to obsessively go through my footage every single week just to keep my drive empty.
Yeah. Although it is good to do that anyway, because otherwise you end up with...
Otherwise it just builds up and I don't look at it anyway. Yeah, I know. Yeah,
like my raw file folder.
Yeah. But I think my initial rush of making videos just fun has dipped. So I'm now willing to be a lot more, what's the word, discerning.
Yeah.
With the footage I actually keep. So like I say, like in Hunt, if I don't get a decent firefight in Hunt in a full session, I'll just at the end of it, I'll just be like, I'm just going to delete that.
Yeah.
Don't need any of that. That was just more dying over and over. I don't need to go through that.
It's a good way to do it. I think.
That snow runner session we just had, I had a good time. I don't think any of it needs to be in a video. Probably.
Yeah. I mean, you could pull out a few funny moments, but is it worth it?
Yeah, exactly.
It's probably going to be a lot like the
because the
last
thing
video.
because I've got a key I can press. When OBS is running, I can hit a button and it saves a timestamp to a text file. But I didn't press that button in the last 3 hours. Meaning, if I want to find any funny moments, I'm going to have to go back and watch it all, which I'm not going to do. So I think I need to be more
choosy.
Yes, I need to cut more rather than try and keep everything. Now that the initial rush is over.
Yeah, well, that's kind of why I want to start recording over streaming, because I'm only really streaming because, like we were saying the other week, it's like free
storage
for all of your footage, but the quality sucks.
Yeah, that's why I streamed back in the Armour days.
Yeah.
Because I didn't have the hard drive space.
Yeah.
So I was just like, well, I'll just make Twitch keep it instead.
Whereas now I'd rather buy another SSD and then like literally make 2 of my drives, my terabyte drives, into video recording and then just record all that, because it's like doing the Red Dead clips that I've done recently. It looks so good, just the shadow video recordings.
Yeah. I need to watch your train one.
That one's great.
I've not seen that yet.
It just there was one.
Stuff like that is good as well, because like I would love to get back into Red Dead 2, but I don't have the time. I've got too many video games already, so it's just nice being able to watch other people play it.
Yeah.
And play it in a way that I would play it, not like find some YouTuber playing it in a YouTubey way. It's just you were just playing the game, and that was the bit that you thought was worth putting on YouTube.
Yeah. Yeah, I've really enjoyed sticking up the highlights of that, because most times you do a firefight, there's some really cool moments.
Yeah. So do you just use instant replay for those?
Yeah, I just use the 10-minute recording.
10 minutes, yeah, okay. That was going to be my next question. Because you can set that to something. You can set it to something stupid like half an hour or something, can't you? That
yeah,
the instant replay.
I kind of want to up it to 15 minutes, because I mean it depends on the game and what you're playing. But in Red Dead, 10 minutes covers most activities. But there's definitely some moments recently where I've hit save and missed like the beginning and the context.
Yeah, because I tried just using instant replay ages ago for Tarkov, and I had it set to, I think, even when I had it set to 10 minutes, I'd get to the end of a raid and hit the button and realise that the raid was 15 minutes long, and there was something at the start that I wanted to keep. But because I was still in the raid, I was too nervous to press the button and like to remember to hit the button, so I lost all that stuff. Yeah.
Well, what is really nice is if you press it and then like something happens like 5 minutes after that and you press it again, it just does the other 5 minutes, so then you can just merge the 2 videos.
Oh really?
Yeah, so
that's really clever.
Yeah, it will record back, so as soon as you hit that button, then it kind of like archives that 10 minutes, and then anything after that within 10 minutes it will do.
Yeah, it just gets the extra. It doesn't do another 10 minutes where you've got the duplicate video. That's really cool. I had no idea it did that.
The only issue I had was I had to like work out 2 very distinct keys on the keyboard, because I kept on forgetting which was my start recording and which one was my recorded last 10 minutes. And if you start recording, it then won't allow you to then do the prior 10 minutes.
Oh, okay.
It wipes that footage.
Okay.
No,
that's cool. Shadow play's cool. Stuff like that. Like, I think it's good that Nvidia and console, because the PlayStation's got a similar thing, hasn't it?
Yeah. You can,
where you can just like hit a button and grab a video of the last few minutes.
Yeah, the share button, it's really useful. I've done that quite a lot of times actually.
Yeah. Because it's just smart thing for developers to do, because then it's free content for them and their game. It just makes it easier for people to be like, look at this cool thing that this video game let me do.
Yeah, I think it's really great. I really love just having the ability to record, like, something that was awesome, and get a really good recording of it, and then upload that, minimal effort.
Yeah. Yeah. No, it's fun. I think the only thing I've got right now, I've got loads of Deep Rock Galactic clips to splice together.
That game looks like a lot of fun.
Yeah, it is. It's quite unfortunate though, because we got it, and so far we've only ever played it after having already played Hunt. So
What,
the
on
other
the
two
same
guys,
evening?
yeah. So the other two guys, they don't want it to be very hard. They want it to be like an easy chill out game.
Yeah.
So far we've only we've only played it a couple of times, but last time, so like the default difficulty is 2 of 5. I tried bumping it up to 3. I like 2 out of 5. It's pretty chilled out. But like, there's not like you miss out on a lot of the enemy variety and stuff.
Yeah. And
So
guess
I
they're
bumped
all
it up.
shit moments.
I bumped it up to 3. We immediately got enemies we hadn't seen before that was really cool, but we failed the same mission like 3 times in a row. So I was like, right, let's just put it back down to 1. Put it back down to 2, sorry, so we can get through the next few missions. But I'm just worried that if we only ever play Deep Rock after playing Hunt, they're never going to want to put the difficulty up, so we're going to miss out on loads of what the game has.
Yeah.
So I don't know, and especially because I'm like I said, I'm getting a bit like Hunt has just this. It's not quite enough there for me. But I don't think they feel the same. I think they quite like it.
Yeah.
But I just feel like there's not enough to do in a round. Besides, I think like you said, like fighting the actual bosses isn't that engaging.
No,
It's just kind of avoid
really
its
weak.
attacks and hit it with a hammer. So it's almost less interesting fighting the boss. It's more interesting being outside trying to place an ambush for the person who's been unfortunate enough to go and fight the boss for you.
Yeah, yeah, all that kind of stuff's really interesting, and that's probably where it's good if you can get creative there, but still, it's not like just the variables of what's gonna happen aren't very. Well, there's not much depth, like you said before.
Yeah. Yeah. I want Tarkov with like the co-op help of Hunt. Really.
Yeah.
I want the gunplay and the looting and all and the meta of Tarkov, but then let me ping stuff. Let me see where my allies are. And give me a map that works.
Yeah, all that kind of stuff would really help for me, I think.
Yeah. But I don't think that game will ever exist. Because the developer of Tarkov is like he wants it to be crazy hardcore.
Yeah. It's like when I was saying before though, a while back, I just think it's to the point now where if you're expected to get out of game and find a map somewhere else, then you
might as well put it in the game.
Yeah, you might as well have it in the game by default so that everybody at least has it to start off with, and you've got it.
Because otherwise you're just punishing people that don't have 2 monitors.
Yeah. Or like most people can use their phone screen. That's what I used to do.
Yeah.
And it's just hassle. It's just like I just can't be bothered to get all that up to play around.
I think there is I think someone did write like an overlay application.
That's cool.
Where like you can like hit a button and it'll show you a map and then you can close it again.
Yeah, I would kind of.
So you can like pull a map up while you're playing Tarkov. I don't know if it got classed as a cheat or not. I don't remember, but I have seen it. Seen footage of it being used. But like it didn't tell you where you were. It just showed you the picture.
Yeah.
So that you could look at a map on one screen. Because I think if it showed you where you were, I think then it would be potentially a cheat.
Yeah, I don't think
it would be considered one.
I like having to work out where you are on the map. I think that's completely fine. It's purely the like when you're in the game and you're like, right, I need to get to I don't know whatever like railroad or it gives you a name and you're like
railroad to military base and it's like I don't know where that is.
Yeah.
I don't know what that is. Yeah, yeah.
And some of them are really obscure. Sometimes you're like, I don't even know what it would be like. Like some extract that's like a hole in the fence with a car, and it's like the only way you know what that is by having discovered it
Looking
by
it
chance. And most of them you come across and you can't even access anyway. So
yeah,
to
and
me,
especially the
that's
ones like ZB 1014 and stuff on customs, where it's like, okay, you need to go to this little bunker, open the door, go down the stairs, and then there's a door at the end of a corridor, and that's the extract. And it's like, how do you find that without being told that's where it is?
Yeah, well, that's the thing. I don't think you could feasibly. I mean, how many rounds would you have to play to get to know all those? It would be a more logical thing to me to literally have random exits on the map which are different every single game and didn't have necessarily names, but gave you clues or something, so you had to work it out. That would be like more logical to me in terms of making it hardcore. Right now, it just feels like this isn't really hardcore. It's just irritating.
Yeah, it's just obtuse. Whereas kind of the way Hunt does it is good because it's randomized but public information.
Yeah.
You know, so it's more dynamic, but not. Yeah, it's not just putting up roadblocks for no reason.
Yeah, but then they're
no real gameplay benefit.
They're two very different games in terms of not just like gameplay, but like the actual ambitions of what you're doing in game and stuff. So like Hunt really is like a PvP, really a PvP experience the whole time.
Yeah, it is.
Whereas Tarkov feels more of a survival game.
Yeah. Well, that's where it's going in theory when it's quote unquote finished. If that ever happens, it is going to be a survival shooter RPG. Basically, is what it's supposed to be.
Yeah. I think I would have liked
it
more as well if it was a bit more like DayZ. Like having everyone on the map, and it didn't have round times, and the idea wasn't to like escape, so to speak.
Yeah. Well, maybe you'll like it when it's finished then.
Yeah, I'm definitely keeping an eye on it because there's a lot I do like about it. I think if I gave it time, then I would really enjoy it.
So I was always curious about the Stalker games and like having to journey across this like wasteland and scavenge for supplies and stuff, which is, you know, if and when Tarkov reaches the point where all the maps are interconnected and there's no extracts anymore, it's just traveling across Tarkov.
Yeah.
Maybe I'll get that feeling. Or maybe I'll just have to wait for Russia 2028 or whatever the hell the single player game is that's going to come after it.
That probably interests me more. I just want, to be honest, if Stalker had
It'd be good if it was co-op though.
Stalker co-op would be perfect for me.
Yeah. Yes. Maybe one day. Maybe someone will develop it.
Fingers crossed. I think a Metro co-op game would be great as well.
Yeah. Yeah, the Metro games were cool. I couldn't really get on with them because I got a bit scared because I'm a baby boy. But I've watched streams of Metro and it's a cool game.
Yeah, some of the horror games I've actually played through.
Yeah.
I usually don't touch horror.
Yeah, I struggle with it. That's why I'm glad that Hunt Showdown, that all the horror elements of it melt away completely as soon as you play with somebody else.
Yeah.
As soon as you go into a team, it's just it's just whatever. Just play it.
Just deal with the enemies and.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, it becomes more about the communication, the teamwork, than how scary all the noises are.
Yeah.
So I'm quite curious about like if I get a quest and I play Half-Life Alyx, like how am I going to handle that?
Yeah,
because people have said that can get quite scary.
I tried Resident Evil 7 in VR.
Yeah, I would never do that. I would never.
It was absolutely terrifying. I was playing with friends in the room and they just went silent whenever it was a tense moment. So you then just feel like you're not in a room.
You were alone. Yeah.
Like,
they just left you alone to be scared while watching. That's kind of cruel, actually. I don't think those are your friends. I'll be honest. Yeah. Yeah. Because like the only reason I looked into this VR stuff in the first place was my cousin messaged me yesterday just to say happy birthday. And then I don't even know. Like he messaged me just being like, "Oh, I'm thinking about getting a Quest, like an Oculus Quest. What do you like? Do you have any thoughts about that?" And I was like, I don't know what that is. I haven't looked at VR headsets for 2 years. I don't even know what exists other than the Valve Index that I know is too expensive and I don't want it. And then I started looking into it and I'm like, holy shit, what do you mean you don't need lighthouses? What?
Yeah.
But yeah, he was saying that he really wanted to play Subnautica. And I was like, no way, dude. No way. I could. Yeah, I couldn't handle the flat screen version of Subnautica. Like, I thought water freaked me out until I played Subnautica, and now I know that deep water freaks me out. Like, I know I have thalassophobia because of Subnautica.
Yeah.
I suspected before because of other video games with water segments, but then I played Subnautica. I couldn't. I just couldn't do it.
I don't like not being able to see the bottom.
That's what it is, yeah. That's what it is.
Yeah, but I used to dive, and so like when we went to Italy the other year, we were like swimming out of our depth, and it was like really murky where we were, and that was freaking the hell out of me. And I hadn't been in the sea since I dived, which was sort of like 6 or 7 years ago, and just having the scuba gear and having a mask so you can see under the water makes such a difference to me. As soon as I go in where I can't see that, it terrifies me. I want to give Subnautica more of a go though, because I quite enjoyed what I did play with it. But
yeah, it was a really interesting game that I couldn't play because I was scared. So I watched a full playthrough on Twitch basically. Because that's just what I do with horror games now. Because there's a streamer I quite like who usually ends up playing games that I'm interested in. But then if it just so happens that one of them's a bit scary, I'll just wait for him to play it instead.
Yeah,
and it's good enough.
I kind of want to do that with The Last of Us 2.
Well, just watch it.
Yeah, watch the playthrough.
Yeah. I'm not going to play it. It'd be too dismal, too bleak. Don't really need that.
Yeah. Yeah, it looks exciting.
So the gameplay and the stories don't need the story. I read some of the leaks because I knew I wasn't going to play it. I wasn't bothered. So the leaks came out. I just kind of skimmed through them and I was like, yeah, fair enough. Move on.
I want to play it, but I don't. At the same time, I'm in this like I want to know what happens, and I want to play through and like see the story beats and see what Naughty Dog achieve in terms of storytelling. But I don't. Yeah. I didn't really find the gameplay of The Last of Us that fun, and I don't really want to go through the trauma of like what I know is going to be shown.
Just how depressing it's going to be and how brutal.
Yeah, and how they're blatantly going to make some decisions in it that are heart-wrenching and you know they're coming.
Yeah. Yep. No, I'm just... Yeah. It's an interesting time in history to release a really bleak, miserable game.
Yeah, it really is.
About a infectious virus.
Especially after Animal Crossing being hailed as like the savior.
Yeah, like it came out at the perfect time and saved everybody because it let everyone connect and talk to each other and spend time just doing something nice.
Yeah.
And then Last of Us 2 comes out and it's just like, were you sad enough yet? Well, here's some more sadness. Yeah. Play it and be sad.
And revel in the violence.
Ha! Yeah, and watch people die and kill them in horrible ways with all of our lovely animations that we made. Yeah. Yeah. I'll just keep looking at YouTube videos for VR games that I can't play yet instead. That'll keep me going.
I'm gonna research Quest now. I definitely do not need to spend 400 quid on another VR unit, but I'm gonna research it.
No. It blew me away. And just like seeing all the stuff that you can do with it. Like the fact that it does hand tracking is amazing. I didn't know that had been invented. But because the interesting thing as well is because I saw the Quest and the Rift S, and I saw an Oculus video that showed off hand tracking and assumed that they both had it, but the Rift S can't do hand tracking because it doesn't have any processors in it, whereas the Oculus does because it's a standalone headset.
Interesting. So is the Rift S cheaper than the Quest?
No, same price. It's higher resolution, I think. It's visually it's better visual quality and build quality, I think, than the Quest. but you have to plug it into a PC, and it doesn't do hand tracking.
Yeah.
And apparently, I watched a comparison video between the Rift S and the Quest. That was, I think, I tried to find one that was only a few months old, so it would actually have relevant information in it, rather than one from 2019. It was just like, whoa, this one you can't plug it into your PC, and it only does these games. So get a Rift S instead. Well, that's not useful because it's not true anymore.
Yeah, that's
I found a video. Yeah, so I found a video from 2020, and the guy and the person in it was basically saying like the Quest is actively being supported by Oculus, and they actually want it to become a successful product, whereas the Rift S, they basically released it and then forgot about it. So at this point in 2020, the Rift S is worse than the Quest because it's got fewer features, doesn't have as much support. It's not as popular, so there's not as much, like, you can't get as many good accessories for it, and the accessories aren't as cheap. All sorts of stuff, and he was basically saying like, yeah, just, you know, if you want inside out tracking headset, just get a Quest, because the Rift S, the only advantage that it had was PC VR games, and the Quest can do those now, so you might as well get that.
Yeah.
And you have the option of it being wireless if you want.
Yeah, well, that would be great for my PC space. PS4 space is alright, but PC space not so good for VR.
No, mine's not so good. Whereas I could just go downstairs. I could use the dining room because that's got a pretty clear line of sight to the router, so it'd get a good signal. And there's loads of free space in there. So yeah, I could use that as a VR room. Because that was one of those things I always thought, like, you know, when I move out of this house and get another one, I might try and look for a house that's got like a small-ish like room in it that could be a VR room. But then if something comes along where the headset just builds its own play space, then any room is a VR room if you can move the furniture far back enough.
Yeah.
Now, it just makes such a huge difference. It's just that one thing, at least for me, really opens it up.
Yeah, I'd be really interested to see what it's like in games like Super Hot. To see if it's as good at tracking in a space as
the
PSVR is.
Yeah, I think the only drawback potentially, because presumably the PSVR, there's some sort of detector that you plug in, is there?
So there's use the PlayStation camera, which they bundle with it.
Oh, okay.
And that sits in front of you. And then the PSVR headset's covered in lights, and then you've got the Move controllers, which have the...
And they've got lights.
Orb on the end.
Yeah.
And
yeah, because I think so. The Quest, obviously the front of the headset's got, I think, 4 cameras. I think it's 4. There's one on each corner, basically.
Yeah.
And that is what's used to track the space. And then they also track the controllers because the controllers are covered in IR emitters.
Yeah.
But then that means that if you put the controller behind you, it can't see it anymore. That's that's the only like real drawback. But to be fair, how often are you like tracking stuff that's behind you? Like how often are you actually pointing behind yourself and actually trying to do something accurately?
I mean, it very rarely happens in PSVR games I play, but mainly because the developers take it into consideration.
Yeah, and like even if you're trying to do like dumb shit where you're like trying to fire 2 guns in opposite directions or whatever, like by the time you've turned your head behind you to see where the other gun's pointing, the headset will have already picked up the controller in your like way off in your peripheral field of view, registered where it is, fixed the tracking. By the time you actually turn to see that hand, it'll be in the correct place. So you won't even see that the tracking has stopped because you can't see behind yourself. And because the field of view on the cameras is so big, by the time you turn around to look at it, it's fixed. I assume. Never having used one. But I assume that that's how it works.
Yeah, I mean, the only times I've found it annoying is in Firewall, actually, of all games, because it allows you so much freedom in movement.
Right.
In terms of looking around crates and things.
It's
quite easy to get turned around a little bit, and then you're facing the wrong way. And then gradually over the play session, you might end up completely turned around, and then it gets confused.
Right.
But generally, it's not too bad, because the other cool thing is on the PSVR is you can usually hold a button which will show you the camera's view.
What, as in like a look through, so you can see the real world?
No.
Oh no, sorry. It shows you the camera so you can see yourself.
Yeah, it shows you the camera in like a grid
Right.
on the screen to show you where its view is, and then you just line yourself up and go, oh, it's
Yeah.
there.
Yeah. Yeah, because I've seen videos of people talking about like here's helpful tips to try and keep yourself oriented in the real world while you're playing.
Yeah.
There's people being like put a rug down in your like near the middle of your play space that you can feel, so that you know if you've stepped off of it.
Yeah, that helps.
To try and like to warn, like obviously you have like the Guardian with the full room VR. You can put in the Guardian systems and stuff, so it'll warn you when you're getting near a wall. But at least if you've got something smaller than your play space in the middle that you can feel you've stepped off it, you at least know to be careful.
Yeah.
And then there's like people being like, I think there was one guy was saying like, oh, if you get like, because a lot of the times you can get quite hot playing VR, get a fan.
Yeah, that's supposed to help with the VR sickness massively.
Yeah, get a fan, put it in the corner, point it at yourself, and then that's both a physical reference about the real room, and it helps keep you getting too hot.
Yeah, the apparently moving air on your face is a really good way to stop the VR sickness.
Right.
So a lot of that's what that's about.
Yeah, yeah.
But that's a really good point about reference. Interestingly, the only times I've seen people really kind of like fall over and hurt themselves, myself included, are when you get so immersed in the game.
Yeah.
So I had one
you kind
mate,
of forget.
Yeah, I had one mate who was playing Super Hot, and you know, have you played Super Hot or seen videos of it?
I've played the flat screen version.
So there's a room that you start in. I can't remember if it's in the flat screen, but there's a room that you start in, which is a tiny room, and you reach up and pull a headset over your head. It was the first time he'd ever played VR ever, and he was just in that room and blown away. And he kind of was looking around, and he was like, "Oh shit, there's a wall in front of me," and then like stumbled over in real life, thinking there was this wall.
Yeah.
And ended up going over on a table in our living room. And then the other time that we experienced it playing Super Hot again, actually, with another mate. He was playing, and he leant down behind some cover in the game.
Yeah.
And then tried to lean.
And tried to lean on it and fell over. Yeah.
And then I've fallen over in Blood and Truth. There was I was playing it standing up because it's really immersive.
I'm gonna have to look at all these PSVR games you're talking about.
That's really good. I reckon if you want a cheap option, so basically they made a James Bond game mixed with the storyline that's straight out of a Guy Ritchie film,
right?
Where you're like this criminal who's become like special forces style, and it's like a proper story-led game. It's basically like think of like Time Crisis but modern. And in VR, like you get two weapons often, or like machine guns and things. You've got to use both move controllers and interact with the environment. But there's a bit when you're running through, so you go up through this construction site, and you're on like very high up in the construction site, trying to escape from the places that's blowing up around you, very James Bond. And you're running along, and this crane comes through the wall and starts smashing through in front of you. It's like phenomenal when you're playing it. You really feel like you're there. And then the crane comes out the side of the building as it's finished smashing. And you run off the edge of this building and literally jump. And like, all this is on rails, so you're not. You have no choice, but you know it's going to happen. And the character jumps, and as I went over the edge, instinctively my body leant forward at the top to like go into what would be a fall kind of position, and I just fell flat on my face.
Yeah, just pitch forwards and
literally. But you get so immersed in it that it kind of just ends up happening, and it's quite funny.
Yeah, it's like a double-edged sword thing, isn't it? It's like you get VR because you want to be that immersed, but if you do get that immersed, you will eventually end up. It'll go too far, and then you'll hurt yourself or fall over or whatever, or smash into something.
Yeah, you just gotta be careful. It's interesting, when you play,
really. Yeah, it's interesting. No, I want to try it.
Good. I do. If you're not, I mean, I would recommend PC purely because there's a lot of really interesting indie devs and stuff. games that I really want to play, but there's also a lot of PSVR exclusives which look play genuinely amazing. The new Iron Man game looks great as well.
Is that on PlayStation only?
I think so, yeah, I think Sony.
All right.
And that looks superb. That's not how it
Is that going to be a full game though, or is that going to be?
Well, initially they released like a demo which I've yet to play. I've
You came highly recommended as the warden to turn this life of wild Patagonia into a world-class hunting reserve.
Potential's there, but it really
Naturally, I expect you to hit the ground running, even though this is your first time here.
That's
some depth, then it'll be amazing.
Yeah, because it seems like a lot of stuff.
I'll start you off with some
like a lot of the things that people rave about, like this is why you should get a VR headset. A lot of the games, they're like an hour long.
I try not to micromanage.
And then it's over. There are. It seems like there are some full-length games now. Like there's at least 3 on the Oculus store that are meant to be really good. There's like Asgard's Wrath.
And take in the view.
There's this
There's
sci-fi
also hunting outpost nearby, and I like you to prepare it for upcoming
game.
guests. My
It's all in
gaucho
zero
friends
G.
do all
It's
the
meant to be
heavy
dead good.
lifting with the outpost.
Something Echo.
You just need to put
Zero
on
Echo.
the finishing touches.
Echo Zero.
Bring things up to the standard of
and
a
then
professional
there's,
hunter.
I think
Then
it was
bring
Gearbox.
them up a little
I
more.
think they've made like
Mistake.
a sci-fi FPS.
Oh, cool.
If you're
That's
itching
like
for
an
a
actual
hunt,
like
you can
proper
harvest
I think
some game
full
for the
AAA
construction
game
crew building
in
our
VR.
central lot.
But a lot of
I like to
stuff,
keep the people
you know, like
who work
people
for
say
me
like,
fed
like Vader
and fed
Immortal,
well.
it's amazing.
It
It's
helps
one of the
them
best
stay
things on
loyal.
Oculus.
Our chef can
And then it's
prepare
like, but it's like an
anything
hour
but a
long,
puma.
and then it's over.
See what you can find
Like,
in
give
the
me an
area.
actual Star
I'll
Wars
chime
game.
in to
You know,
help
that's
if you
that's
need
why
it.
I'm interested in Squadron so much. Like, because that'll be I think they've said it's going to have a story and proper multiplayer and all
People
this sort
from
of
the
stuff, but
USA
in
love to
VR.
brag about how
And
great
like,
their mule
I'll be
deer
able to go
hunting
back
is back
to
home.
Elite Dangerous
But after they see the deer
and play
at
that
Parque
again in
Fernando,
VR,
they are
and I
not
assume
bragging
it'll blow me
anymore.
away. I can go back to No Man's Sky and see what that's like in VR.
If we don't hunt them, they'll overpopulate
Yeah,
and
because
start
it's
the
meant
other
to be
animals
really, really good.
Because these
You
boludos
know, like, I
everything.
played it flat screen and it was fine. I kind of got a bit bored, but if I play it in VR, just the immersion factor might just keep me playing.
Well, have you played it recently as well?
No, not really.
'Cause
Because that's the thing. I want to pilot a mech suit in VR. That'll be fucking sick.
Yeah. See, this is one of the reasons why I went for PSVR though, because there's a lot of like finished Sony games. Like Astrobot's superb. It's like one of the best platformers I've played for years.
Yeah.
That was. Really
How does that
good.
work though? Like I've seen it, and I know people have said it's a platformer, but like what?
So you're sitting.
Presumably you're not platforming.
No, you're sitting in a chair, and it pitches like your character as a robot in a chair, and you're controlling him around you. So he'll run. You can control him like you would be controlling like a little remote control action figure. And
Right.
You can like run him up to the side of you and like lean closer and stuff, and like hit him with the controller, and it reacts to him. And like you can run in between your legs and all this, and he'll look up and wave at you. And it's so well done, and the platform is genuinely really good.
There's a game called Moss, I think, that sounds similar to that.
Really good as well. It's
That people rave about.
Yeah, it's excellent. I played the demo of it. I still have yet to play the whole thing, but the demo blew me away in terms of it's that interaction. Ghost Giant as well is another one that looks similar. I haven't played that either. It's on my wish list, but
Is that another PlayStation exclusive?
yeah, I think so. It's one of these.
Top listed PlayStation exclusives. I'm not getting PSVR.
But I mean, Firewall's still the one that's impressed me the most. Have you seen any of Firewall?
No, I'm opening YouTube tabs and I'm going to watch all these videos before I go to bed.
Firewall. Imagine Rainbow Six, but with like really good fidelity of movement of the gun. So like you can crouch down in real life behind a crate and then lift the gun up and fire over the top of the crate. But
yeah.
At the correct angle and stuff, and like laser sights.
I feel
really important. And
I feel like that's like every VR shooter, though, isn't it? This is something that's really interesting to me now. Is that like a lot of VR, like maybe it's not true. Maybe it's just the ones that I've bothered to look at. But like every VR shooter seems like you have to know, you have to have the basic knowledge of how to reload a gun.
Yeah, so Firewall doesn't.
In order to reload, you can't just hit R. Like you have to actually drop the mag, grab another mag, put it in. You know, slide the charge handle in order to to get the rifle to
I've been
continue to
hunting
work.
here since my
Yeah.
husband bought the place
I've
all
not
the
really
way
seen
back
that
in
many military
1979.
VR shooters that
You
are
may
just
have
like
heard I was a two-time back-to-back
press this
national
button to reload the
champion
gun.
in the
So Firewall
50
does
meter
that because the
rifle.
controller
3
that you
positions.
use, the aim controller, has 2
I
sticks
know
on it, so you
guns.
still move with the analog
I know
sticks.
game.
Right.
And my park
And
nourishes the
which is
biggest,
great
most
because you can use the
exquisite
analog stick
free-range
that would
tags
be
you'll
your
ever
right aim
hunt.
one to kind of
All
aim
records
faster.
are set
So
here.
still,
Right.
you
Some
can
of
still
them belong
turn
to me.
yourself and aim sideways, but
Yeah.
you can use
If
the
you're as
stick
good
to
as I'm
turn
paying you
faster,
to
so it
be,
feels like
maybe
you're
you'll
more
set
there.
some records yourself.
Yeah.
And then it's
But
got
let's not
PlayStation
cut
face
this
buttons and a
torta before
D-pad
it's
as well,
baked.
and all of
We've got a
those
lot to
you
build.
can use
Outposts
if you
to
press
open,
square, you reload the gun.
wilderness
There's
to
no
explore.
Okay.
because you're holding a physical gun, they're not tracking
Yeah.
your hands,
And
they're tracking the
if
gun.
you see anything
Yeah, got it. That makes
strange
So it's
sense.
along the
different. But
way,
then Blood and Truth
come
did the whole.
straight to me
That's
and
true,
me
actually. So
alone.
how would that work
Loyalty is very, very
if you bought a
important to me.
rifle
My park is
holder
a paradise, but sometimes
for
the
like Quest
disloyal people
controllers?
who work
Yeah.
here have
How do you
mala
reload?
leche,
I
you
have
know.
no
Maybe
idea.
maybe there is a control scheme in those games for having a rifle
Hear that?
stock
Time for a
where you
posas
do
y
just press a
jefas.
button.
Don't they
Telenovelas
also?
are my only vice.
On their gloves, you can get
Simona's
VR
going to
gloves.
find out the identity of her biological father.
Aren't they like
Gaston
really
or
expensive though?
Facundo.
Probably.
It better be Facundo.
Like that you mean like the haptic
Gaston and
gloves?
his lies can be
Yeah,
trusted.
just
No,
the
no,
ones
no.
that can be tracked. I don't know if they're haptic. I just
Now,
saw a
that
guy
one
doing a
task
video where he
finished.
was.
2 more to go.
He had gloves on in VR, and it was.
Right.
He was saying it was amazing.
Right. I don't know about that. Don't know about gloves. I've just all I've seen is that the only hand tracking I've seen is the one that the Oculus Quest can do
Yeah.
natively. And I don't even know how many games that's in.
Yeah.
I just think it can do it. Because it kind of relies on the developer being able to put the detail in to allow you to do finger by finger interactions with the world as opposed to just grab this, grab that, which is what a lot of stuff is.
Yeah. Yeah, I think that's probably the area where the PC's really interesting because it's got so many extra peripherals and
Yeah,
ways of playing.
absolutely.
I think if I had the, I mean, the PSVR was a really like I think I got mine for $250 with 5 or 6 games.
That's
So
pretty good.
It was a really low, and like in terms of investment, it was really low, and it
Absolutely.
also works with PS5 because I got it when they announced that because I was like, well, it's a no-brainer really.
Yeah.
I don't think my PC can run it. I'll get an experience of VR, and if I don't like it, I can still sell it.
Yeah.
So it's been really
Especially
good.
like with the risk of uncurable VR sickness and stuff. You don't want to
Yeah, you don't want to invest in something
drop
like
400 quid and then just have a dead piece of hardware in your house
that. Yeah.
that makes you throw up.
I have an affinity for pumas.
Yeah, it's been
Not
really
just
good.
hunting
I do
them.
recommend it if you
I've
want like, a
raised
cheaper
them,
option.
rehabilitated
I
them,
got a PS4 because
protected
there are some
them.
really good games, but there's
I bet
definitely
we
a lot
have
of
more
games like
pumas
Blood and
per
Sorcery
kilometer
that I
in
wanna
this
play and
reserve
can't.
than anywhere else in the Americas.
That's not
They
a story
have a
though, is
simple
it?
philosophy, one which I have applied
So-
to my business
No,
Wait,
it's
dealings.
just like an arena
it's-
fighter.
Respect the
So,
puma,
again,
the puma
it's like,
respects you.
it's probably one
But
that I'll play like 4
disrespect
or
the
5
puma
times.
once, you get no
Yeah.
second
I'm not
chance.
too upset about
Viste?
But that's why then there's stuff like Asgard's Wrath looks like Blade and Sorcery, but they've made an actual 30-hour RPG in VR. And stuff like now that stuff like that starts to exist, it's I can kind of begin to sell it to myself a bit better.
Yeah.
Rather than just like I'm gonna spend hundreds of pounds on this hardware. I'm gonna buy like 6 kind of hour-long experience games and then like 2 or 3 arcade games that I'll play for a couple of hours each, and then what? What's left? What do I play then?
Yeah.
Because I'm not the sort of person who's willing to play the same wave shooter over and over trying to get a better score. I just don't care.